Hey everybody, it's Thursday night and it's, believe it or not, it's 9:32, which would make it 12:32 here in the East, which would make me earlier than I have been over the past 2 days, which actually is really great news because, well, okay, uh, it means everything is going well here at home and, all that stuff. And hey, I like to do that, just even things out. So I have to say this, and I have to explain where it came from. I was watching a series of videos on Instagram. No, not those kind of videos. But I was thinking about, well, maybe I just show it to you. Over on Instagram, what I was looking at that prompted me to say what I'm about to say. And it's this. It was from the NFL Combine, or it was an NFL Combine related dinner, okay? And some people I recognize, others I don't recognize. And I was thinking about how I am not, I never get notifications about those things, right? And then I was thinking about how in high school, when I went to Skyline High School, I was not a member of, for example, I was a member of the Black Student Union. I didn't want to, and I didn't feel the need to put myself in what I thought was a fishbowl, all right? And part of the reason is that I was ostracized from folks who look like me to begin with. And so I basically created my own little world, right? And that continues today because I'm credentialed in NFL media, and yet I don't get, because of that, I don't, and because I run my own media company, all right? I don't get invited. I do sometimes, some people do reach out and invite me, like gentleman from the Fort Worth Star-Telegram, Clarence, did. But by and large, I don't feel part of that group because of the way that I do media, okay? They learn to do media, and I'm not dissing or deriding anything that they say or do, but I'm only pointing out a fact that they went to school to do media. I went to school to do urban planning. Many of them have struggled to find positions and have been treated terribly in their newsrooms. I have fashioned my own way in the media industry by creating my own means of production and creating my own way of getting paid. So there are two differences right there, right off the bat. And I feel like I need to start a group of my own that represents what vloggers do. Because when I look at the table, the first thing that came to my mind, aside from the fact that I wasn't there, and I would have, would have loved to have gone. I think someone would have invited me had I been there. In fact, I know they would have. Actually, it's a fun group of people. But their need, as J-Dub just put, independent media is the real news these days. Yeah, but I'm thinking vloggers, people who use this thing, this smartphone to get out the information, to say, what's happening, to show you what's going on. And no, as you can tell, this is not my bedroom, okay? Sorry, it's just not my bedroom. This is the upstairs office. But my point being that this is a different way, and that I think it needs some grouping club. So I'm thinking about that. Oh, by the way, someone, and maybe that person might be watching now, has a tendency to think that or they'll put out just to be nasty on Twitter that I'm living in my mother's basement or something like that. First of all, I wish, but I'm helping my mom who's 84, and I send rent back to Oakland, okay? If you are in a position where you have to take care of your only person, your only family, your parent, and you have no help, and you don't make the decision I make, there is something wrong with you. There is something more wrong with you if I say that and you distill it into something wrong, as if I haven't grown up yet or something like that. you are a scum. You are the scum of the earth. All right. And rather than getting on social media and writing that, and a person who writes that always uses something other than a real name, I noticed. But this seems to be a theme among some people, particularly those people who live in Vegas. I'm just saying. It may be a person who has more than one Twitter account or whatever. But I'm telling you, if you're watching this right now, you're really a screwed up person, okay? And you're not good to your folks at all. So keep in mind that it's very important for you to know that I'm doing something that I don't believe you have the capacity to do. And that's to help and stay with your mother or father and leave and not go out partying or anything else or wasting your time as you do, all right? Take your responsibility to your family before you do anything else in this life, because it will follow you to the next. All right, now I'm going to go to, and I wanted to get that off my chest because after people tagging me, which is why I've changed my status, and particularly on Twitter, after people tagging me with stuff like that, you know, after a while it's okay, but then there might be that one time when your mom is so sick and she's a little slow, and then someone fires that off on you, and you just simply, you want to basically reach out through the screen and then pick them up and then just put them against the wall and say, hey, pal, let me tell you what I'm really going through. Let me show you what I'm really going through so you get it, okay? I mean, all right. And then I think if I did that, the person would say, oh, my God, I had no idea, okay? Well, this is kind of the next best thing to being able to do that, all right? Knock it off. Okay, so anyway, hi, Lisette, how you doing? And J-Dub says independent media. Yeah, Eric Rung says, good evening, Eric, how you doing? And you guys had a conversation going prior to my arrival, and I believe I'm going to get, oh yeah, Unknown Raider guy started off with the J-Dub, and Unknown Raider guy was saying Cox Communications might be the name of the stadium in Las Vegas. I don't know about that. I know that they have the sponsorship, but I don't sense that Cox Communications is willing to pony up $30 million a year for 20 years to have their name on the stadium. In fact, they've already sealed their deal, okay? It's a 10-year deal. How much it is total, I don't know. I can tell you this, that the party that I was at, Raider party in Las Vegas, where I should have taken a lot more pictures than I did, but at any rate, at that party, I can tell you the people I was sitting with were the Cox people. And I knew that they were angling to buy a sponsorship. I didn't know it was going to be a founding sponsorship. So I would say it's 10 years, $10 million. It's probably $100 million. So we start doing some quick figuring. The Raiders have secured Cox, Caesars, and PPG, Pittsburgh Paint. So let's just say that they probably have secured $300 million in sponsorships if they're all for 10 years. At $10 million a year, okay? Now, there's something in me that feels like the paint organization's sponsorship would be less than that. But let's say 250, let's say conservatively 250 million. Now, is that enough? No, it isn't enough. Now, and I'm also hoping that it's 250 million for the Raiders. The Raiders need $1 billion worth of sponsorships. So right now, they're on course to gain more sponsorships, it would seem, by these announcements. But it almost it feels like they're water drops in the bucket compared to what they actually need, okay? So, so there you go, Unknown Raider guy, as far as Cox Communications. Patrick M. Blackman, how are you? Patrick says, I actually went to a lunch truck today by the stadium. What did you see? J-Dub says, I'm hearing Tuesday is when the Oakland deal will be done officially. Yeah, I haven't. Tuesday or Wednesday is what I was told. I was going to make a video about that tomorrow. And more than likely, I was contemplating going there myself. or having Richard Height cover it for me, because I am not. I'll make that decision, I think, by Monday Monday or Tuesday. In fact, no, I'll make that decision by Monday. Yeah, by Tuesday, by Sunday. What am I trying to say? Long week. I'll make that decision by Sunday. And so J-Dub says that. A narrator guy says yes, and I'm hearing NFL is responding to the lawsuit on Friday. Oh, that's tomorrow. I mean, Friday, like of this week, tomorrow. I'll have to type that one. And he says that you've heard that as well. A narrator guy says two things can happen. Either the National Football League is going to ask to dismiss the case, or they might settle for $100 million. No, narrator guy, Rebecca Kaplan didn't say that. You're not watching. Rebecca Kaplan did not say that. In fact, I have, let me put up the article you need to read on Oakland News Now, because Rebecca Kaplan specifically went on the record with me to destroy that. You should be reading Oakland News Now every chance you get, man. Every chance you get, because Raj Matai screwed up. I know you live in Vegas and all that stuff, but look, my publication is the best publication there is regarding information like this. And so Rebecca, who's my longtime friend and the Oakland City Council president, made this post with me here. And it says, Rebecca Kaplan clears Raj Matai, quote, Oakland Raiders least comments. And I'm going to post the link for you to read and basically tell you that right here, okay, there it is, boom, basically tell you that's wrong. So have a look at that one, all right? And so no, Rebecca was severely misquoted. She had no intention, hey, Bible study, she had no intention of putting that idea out there. She gave me the text that she sent to Raj saying, hey, look, here's what I'm saying as far as we have no intention of applying anything to the lawsuit. We're going to move ahead with, we moved ahead with the lawsuit already. No. So Raj put out something that was 1,000,000% wrong. I talked about that here before. Okay, so no, that's not the case at all. Okay, so so I know Raider guy, everything you wrote is wrong. Get it out of your head. It is wrong. Just jettison it from your head. You're completely wrong, okay? J-Dub says, that's the most likely scenario. No, actually, it's not. J-Dub says, no. All right, now. Eric Young, how you doing? Lisette, nice to have you back. In Patrick in Black, but I said, nice to have you here. Joseph Mandera says, hi, that he's recruited a new viewer to the channel. Welcome, Henry. Nice to have you here. Rob Iman says, fact or fiction, Raiders trade Derek Carr. Well, Rob, here's the problem with that question, okay? I don't think it should be fact or fiction, because it's the same thing as offering a bet, all right? Let me ask you this question. Do you think the Raiders should trade Derek Carr, and if so, why? Let's just be honest about it, all right? Because people have this thing about Derek Carr. And I understand that there are those who want to be fans of a person. Sometimes I think it's taken a little too far, but maybe that's just because I'm a bit older and jaded. I don't know. But, you know, at any rate, Bible study, nice to have you here. Okay. And John Akala, nice to hear you. John says, how about trading Derek Carr to Arizona, drafting Kyler Murray, and signing Colin Kaepernick as a backup or starter? You know, out of one of those, you're going to get your starter. You're going to get your starter from Colin if you're willing to allow him to grow into, you know, that's the thing. Colin needs about a year, I think, as a backup or two to get his feet wet and get his playing legs wet again. And I don't mean out of football, I mean on a team. And so you can get used to the speed of the game, get used to hitting again, all that sort of thing, okay? I wouldn't just throw him out there as a starter, job one. I would rather he be behind Derek Carr and grow back into the position. And if he starts, fantastic for all parties, right? I know it's going to be fantastic for the Raiders' bottom line. And Rob Iman says, I trade Carr if Mayock can fleece a good return for a quarterback-needy team. I am telling you, I don't care what anyone says, the Raiders are angling to trade 2 or 3 picks with the Cardinals to get in position to get a quarterback. I feel it in my bones. Now, I feel it in my bones. Now, if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. But the reason I feel it and if it doesn't happen, I feel that's their idea now. I think they're fishing around. Now, what would change? Well, a number of things would change. How Kyler Murray performs in a private pro day, how other quarterbacks like Drew Lock and Tyree Jackson, among others, like Damon Jones, perform. All of that factors in, all right? And now Patrick M. Blackman just wrote something I 1 billion% agree with. I think Tyree Jackson is made for the Raiders. I just do. I think Tyree Jackson is a tall Patrick Mahomes who's going to light up the offense. I really believe that. John Davis says, with all the talk of John L. Davis says, with all the talk of Carr being a franchise quarterback, I think they will pass on quarterbacks in the early rounds. But whoa. Okay, they need to pay him. They need to pay him $20 million. All right. I sense that's a smokescreen. I really do, because you can have a franchise quarterback. All right, but saying someone like Amir Hall ought to be in the combine. That's criminal. That the Bowie State University star for the last 2 years, the best player in black college football, isn't in the combine is a crying criminal shame. Now, John Akala says, I would keep Carr, Derek, give him another year in Gruden's system and see how he does. I would, frankly speaking, start playing for the future. I would play for Carr. I would draft either Haskins or Murray for a future that includes relocation to Las Vegas, because you need a big-name quarterback to take you into Sin City and have something for the future that fans in Las Vegas feel comfortable investing in. Because, all right, so because by the time Derek Carr hits Las Vegas, if he hits Las Vegas, all right, if Derek Carr hits Las Vegas, okay, and the questions are all over. Cut or trade or keep Derek Carr. That's 5 hours ago by the Sporting News. Raiders GM Carr is a franchise quarterback. NFL.com. No, he said a franchise quarterback. Jon Gruden. Derek Carr is our franchise quarterback. All right. So Gruden comes in and basically cleans up the comment that Mayock made that started all the trouble to begin with. Okay. So let me think about this though. You have Carr coming in 2014 NFL draft. All right. By the time the Raiders get to Las Vegas, effectively, they're looking at the 2021 NFL football season, all right? So Carr would be what? He would be in the league, if you think about it, by that point, a wily, crafty veteran that is proven on the field but hasn't won a playoff game. Assuming, of course, nothing happens this year in Oakland. The Raiders need a backup that would set the stage for a new starter in Las Vegas. And that, I think they have to pull the trigger on that person now, because I don't see that if the Raiders improve this year, and they're going to want to improve this year so they don't wind up being in this situation again. If the Raiders improve, they're not going to be able to get a really top-flight quarterback until the later rounds next year. All right? The hope of all is that the Oakland Raiders go to the Miami Super Bowl and bring the Vince Lombardi Trophy home to Oakland before they move, all right? So that's the hope, okay? And that's the hope. So Lissette says, we would be taking 2 steps backward if we got rid of Carr now. And Lissette, that's why I don't think it's a good idea to get rid of him personally. And I do think it's a good idea to consider, as Bill Walsh would do, developing a path for a replacement. And Raider Gann says, Carr has only proven to say the right thing so far. The season we had 12 wins with Carr, let's be honest, that was the easiest schedule we've had in years. But also Raider Gann's defense was better, and the offense was explosive. Cesar says, Johnny Manziel is going to be the backup quarterback for the Raiders next season. Wouldn't that be cool? Gruden isn't going to pass up bringing in one of his personal favorite players when he has the chance to do so. J-Dub says, that would be my dream, to win a Super Bowl for the hometown before we leave again. Now, that would be sweet. That was Mark Davis' dream. And it would be fitting to have that occur during the 100th year of professional football, as it's celebrated this year. I think that'll be outstanding. Patrick and Blackman says, let Tyree Jackson compete or study behind Carr. And the neat thing about Tyree, is that Tyree, frankly, you can get him with a 2nd-round pick, as it looks right now, 2nd or 3rd. I say this with my hands in this position because Kyrie, my prediction for this year, for this coming weekend regarding quarterbacks, is Kyrie Jackson's going to light it up. Okay. And I keep saying Kyrie, I don't know why. Tyree Jackson's going to light it up, all right? And I keep thinking, you know what happens is I see Tyree, you have Ty, right? So you can take the T and then take the T off and then put a K, you have Kyrie, right? So Tyree is quite literally 1 letter away from Kyrie Irving. It's like, my brain is just going, no, I can't handle it. Okay, so there you go, all right? Patrick and Blackman says, Aaron Rodgers sat behind Brett Favre. Great point. John Collins says, looks like the Raiders are bringing A.J. McCarron back also. For now, I am not excited with A.J. McCarron's place on the Raiders at all. Nothing against A.J. personally, but A.J. has come into journeyman NFL status, all right? He's not the guy that you expect to win the championship for you. Because he makes plays just well enough to be a coach killer, all right? Good enough to win a few games for you, not good enough to win a championship. And that has been his role in Cincinnati. Now, those of you who are saying, hey, Zinni, I thought it was all about scheme. It's not all about scheme. It's the proper mesh between quarterback and scheme. But having said that, the best scheme and the best situation for A.J. McCarron has not materialized. It's not Oakland. Okay? It's not Oakland. It's a place where he has to be the plug and play quarterback, the person that the coach and the executive staff wants as their leader, not as the backup who may become the leader. That doesn't fit. Look at what happened this year. And it doesn't fit in the modern NFL because due to the collective bargaining agreement, quarterbacks only get so many reps. Players only get so many reps. You don't have the time that you used to develop a quarterback coming into your system. So you get a guy like A.J. McCarron who's your backup, and that basically prolongs the time he's going to be your backup, absent some injury and some installation of a system that this person knows extremely well. So I don't see that. For those reasons, I don't see A.J. McCarron as that guy, all right? Joan Gonzalez says, do you think the fans will fill the seats this coming year? the stadium was not full capacity as the season went on last year. You know, there's a specific reason for that I think you're it's going to cause you way you change. It's going to cause you to change the way you look at attendance numbers. Always look at what's going on in the region. We had last year the Camp Fire. We had a number of gigantic fires in Northern California. You would say, what does it have to do with attendance at a Raiders game? My retort would be this. What it has to do with attendance at a Raiders game is if you're a season ticket holder and you happen to live way up in Sonoma right now, your house is underwater, the money that you would normally spend on season tickets, you're not even thinking about those season tickets because, hey, those season tickets may be may have floated down the river someplace, or, well, you don't get the season tickets yet. Well, my point is, you may be about trying to sell those season tickets through NFL Ticket Exchange because you have some more pressing needs. That was true last year. So those people that have suffered are in the Raiders' backyard. You know, a significant number of season ticket holders come from Napa, all right? And Joseph Gonzalez joke says, I was at the game, the air was pretty bad. I see your point. Yeah. Think about the empty seats there that you saw. All right, and think about the empty seats you saw before the campfire, because we not only had the campfire, we had two fires, right? We had the campfire, and then we had the Napa fire. So we really had two fires. California was decimated in a way that I feel is criminal and has proven to be criminal, all right? And now we've got floods and mudslides. One died in Sausalito on a mudslide a couple of weeks ago. So Eric Young says, what is my opinion on Justin Haber? Can you make that? I mean, when you ask me that question, and you say, you know, what's my opinion of him in terms of the draft itself or the Raiders or in general? Do I feel that Justin is on a caliber with you know, Kyler Murray or anybody else? No, I don't. I've never been really high on him. I felt that he was great. I felt that he was good in the Oregon system. Okay, but in terms of a guy that should be the well, let me put it this way. I didn't think that he was the fellow that should have been number one this year. He's not coming out. So looking at 2020, do I think that he's talented? Yeah, I do. But it's just something about the way he plays and a certain inconsistency in that system where he doesn't jump out to me, all right? Now, and so I will say this. I'm going to take a longer look at him to give you a more intelligent answer to criticize myself, because I've spent more time looking at air raid offense quarterbacks than Justin. I haven't ran a full tape on him. I've seen him against Cal. But when I look at him, I look at, every time I think about Oregon, I think about the scheme. I cannot get over the Oregon scheme. I can't get over their defense. I can't get over how in Cal's case, in a number of occasions, we played stupid ball against them. For example, single teaming Oregon's defensive tackles, all right? Not having a game plan that neutralizes their rush. We should have beaten Oregon last year. We started off quite good against them. That meant that that game pissed me off. So as you can tell by what I just saw, Justin was not the person that I felt could be this huge difference maker that everybody else thinks that he should have been. All right. For that game, he was what? 225 yards. I'm going back over the stats here. 3 touchdowns in that game. Okay. He didn't set the world on fire, and he didn't set the world on fire that game because of our defense. The Cal defense really performed incredibly well last season, okay? So I'll take another look at him, but I am not quite sold on him being the best yet. Now, he's got the physical tools. He's 6'6", 230 pounds, right? And I'm not denouncing him at all. But I want to, in fairness to him and to your question, give him a better look than I have, because I haven't given him a good look at all. And I think because when I've seen him play against us, our defense has done a pretty good job. And talking about us, I mean Cal, but I was on the Cal Alumni Association board for from 1998 to 2003. I was looking around to show you my lifetime. I have a lifetime member card. All right. So J-Dub says Cal hasn't been the same since Tedford was the head coach. Hey, not only that, do you realize we have goose egg? We have no players at the NFL Combine this year. None. That's horrible. Tom Collar says, we need another quarterback, that's for sure. Carr is not bad, but he is not the difference maker. Eric Young says, for some reason, I think he would do well with the Raiders. But I just don't see that, okay? He's a scheme guy. He fits the Oregon scheme exceptionally well. But I don't see him as that person that can plug in any other scheme and do well. Look at Marcus Mariota. Marcus Mariota has done okay, but for the most part, he has been in systems that have tried to mimic bits and pieces of Oregon. Didn't quite get it right. If it were left to me, I would have replicated the Chip Kelly Oregon offense full on, full stop, as it was brought into the NFL by Chip. Made some corrections with respect to the end zone approach and scheme and plays, and I think I would have fared better. But that's my arrogance. It's okay. So John Acala says, if Raiders want Allen in the draft, do you think they should move up from for the 4th pick? In other words, do I think that Allen will fall to them? No, I don't. Here's the thing. Let's look at the NFL draft order first of all, and order for 2019. And I say that for a specific reason. We've got, and we need to hurry up and do a mock draft, ML. Is ML around here? But I should have went to NFL Communications and got that one. All right. We have the Cardinals, the 49ers, the Jets, the Raiders, the Buccaneers, and number 5. I think that if the Raiders didn't make them, Allen will go to the 49ers at 2. If the Cardinals wind up taking Murray at 1, as some people think, they'll either take Murray at 1 or they'll take Allen at 1. And there are people who are predicting that Allen's going to blow the doors off the draft on this, off the combine this Sunday, all right? So if those scenarios are the most likely, and I think they are, then the Raiders would quite literally have to move up in position to get him. The main question going into this weekend is this, and that's why I say let's take a wait and see. Will Josh Allen be that guy? Will he be the guy that when he hits the cone drill, every draftnik's mouth and jaw will collectively hit the floor at the same time? Okay, that's what we have to look out for. Who jumps off the scale? Look what happened with the bench press today. Okay, we had the running back from Kansas, 225 pounds. I can do that once. 225-pound bench press. He does it 34 times. Ding. Okay. I could probably pump out 4 times in anger. All right. Anyway, think about that. But what happened to his stock from that is incredible, because Alex Barnes, he broke Jerick McKinnon's bench press record for a running back. All right, and he came in there and just hammered it. Now, prior to that, Alex Barnes, in terms of the draft, let's see what his projection was to be. Okay, Alex Barnes, NFL draft projection right there. Let's see what comes up. Okay, we've got Alex Barnes is projected to be right here. Player profile, top running back, mock draft. They had him going late rounds, and possibly the late first round, because right now they have Josh Jacobs of Alabama as the best running back. Then Damian Harris, David Montgomery, Benny Snell, all right, of Kentucky, Devin Singletary, Mike Sanders, Elijah Holyfield, Justice Hill, Rodney Anderson, Darrell Henderson, Karen Higdon, Myles Gaskin, Mike Weber of Ohio State, Trayvon Williams at A&M, Tony Pollard, Jacques Patrick, Travis Homer, Dexter Williams, Bryce Love, number 19, Kareth White. So basically, you've got him. He's way down there. Alex Barnes is the 31st according to DraftTech.com. He is the 31st best running back in the draft. 31st, okay? 6'1", 227. But with that performance, he moves himself, I would say moves himself into the second round or the third. Okay, second round or third. Looking at him from this perspective, he was looking at 4th round or 5th round. But that performance today bumped him up a full round. Without question. Bumped him up a full round without question. But in terms of what the Raiders should do, I think the Raiders given their unique position in terms of needing, some a home run hitting quarterback that can back up Derek Carr for the future. The Raiders need to think about taking 2 picks and moving up to number 1. If they can do it with 2 and keep 1, that would be the best scenario for the Raiders. All right, if they can afford to do so. All right, if the Raiders can't afford to do so, you're going to see them trading down like a mug. And the only reason they would do that is because of the stadium issue. All right, because now they're getting, in the form of Cox, Scissors, and PPG, they're getting good sponsors. So the money situation is starting to look better. Still got a long way to go. Gives them a little more breathing room for the future. A little more. They're way not out of the woods. They need $1 billion, okay? But they're getting to a point where they can start wheeling and dealing for little extra dollars here and there. I'm telling you, you have an NFL team and you know how to form sponsorship deals and you're creative like Jerry Jones, look at how he's built the Cowboys. I've talked about this before. The Raiders can be that team. And you have to thank legends for their work in starting to bring this money in for the Las Vegas Stadium, because that's their responsibility. All right? Getting back to your comments here. And Lisette says, I agree. Arcade, how you doing? Arcade says, pass percentage doesn't mean anything. It's about winning games. I'll take Plunkett's winning over Carr's pass percentage. All right? So, Arcade, what are you saying about Carr? Give me a definitive statement there. Eric Young says, every time I look at Kyler Murray, I think of Russell Wilson. I think of the guy from Alabama, Tua, in the face. I don't think of Russell Wilson so much, because Russell has he has these eyes, you know, they jump out through his face. All right. Kyler, he seems like this silent assassin type of dude. He's his own person. I can't. It's hard for me to compare him to anybody. His style is entirely new to the league, in my view. All right. Sean Grogan, hey Sean, how you doing? Sean says, if the GMs are waiting to see them run around in their underwear, they're already in trouble. Oh God, where are you going with this, man? Hold on. Where are you going with this? Oh, they're always, if the GMs are waiting to see them run around in their underwear, they're already in trouble. Everything you need to know is in the game shape. Combine should be only be for physicals. Is this some sort of like, you know, hidden, you know, kind of thing you've got going, where you're going back to Dr. Harry Edwards and you think that, hey, there's just some, you know, hidden backstory or homosexual content to, you know? I'm serious. There's, and I, all right. Let me, all right. I'm not saying that entirely jokingly. There is a grain of truth to that idea. All right. And I remember my first visit to an NFL training camp or practice facility. That was the 49ers. And this was 1999, 98. I was a guest of the Niners, and the Niners, 96, excuse me. The Niners were my target on behalf of the Raiders, because the Raiders wanted to bring back the 49er Raider preseason game, and they came to me as the mayor's economic advisor to help them out. So I'm standing on the sidelines watching the practice with my intern, and there's these assistants, they kept talking about this dude's guns. I mean, like, obsessively. And I'm thinking, and I just felt weird. It's like, do dudes really talk about how other dudes look like that much? I'm just saying, okay? I'm like, yeah, it was, all right? It was hilarious. So I see your point, all right? And I remember a friend of mine would used to say, oh, you know, but here's the thing. Having said all that and gotten all that fun out of the way, there is a really a high industry in evaluating the athletic performance of a player prior to the draft. And what you're looking for is whether or not that player can essentially prove that they're capable of dancing to the tune of the National Football League. And what I mean by that is basically, hey, look, can you understand a play that's called? Are you coachable? Do you take criticism well? Do you perform when called upon? And the only way to determine all of that, the best way we have right now to determine all of that among the top players is interviews with people they know, the top bowls, the All-Star Bowl games that are played, you know, the Senior Bowl, the East-West Shrine Game, the NFLPA Bowl, and then, of course, the Combine and Pro Day and these other workouts organizations. Now, what I mean, the NFL Combine in Indianapolis isn't the only show going on in Indianapolis. There are at least 2 or 3 other NFL Combine type workout events that are held. You could call it ambush marketing on the part of those organizations that hold those events. All right? But they're going on right now. So, so the point being that this is a cottage industry that has a great deal of value. If you go to these, particularly NFL Combine event, if you're invited, and you perform well, and you go from, the talk is maybe you're a third rounder, all right? Well, let's take Lamar Jackson. And look what happened with Lamar Jackson. Lamar went from lower round, not even a first day prospect, to a conversation where people thought, hey, he could be a first day. And he was. So you don't have that happen without, unless you're really, really good participating in the Combine. Okay. Well, I remember Jamarcus Russell. The talk was, hey, Jamarcus Russell's not going to throw at the Combine. Well, he did throw at the Combine, and he did well. There was a lot of good things about Jamarcus Russell that were thrown into the garbage can after his bad stint with the Raiders. But Jamarcus Russell had a very good and very exciting NFL Combine. He really did, I have to say. And he made the right decision in throwing. So Tom Caller says, speaking about long way to go, look at the construction in Vegas. They are way behind. And yeah, they are. You know, and Caller says they didn't speak the truth about the construction. Something is wrong. Yeah, something is wrong, and it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that they're trying to gain sponsorships and trying to put this bright face on everything as opposed to authenticity. And as I said the other night, that could hurt. All right? Arcade says, Derek Carr has only one winning season in his career. If the Raiders don't make the playoffs this year, then Carr will be gone. Well, if they don't make the playoffs this year, why would he be gone? And I ask that question because I can imagine a scenario similar to last year where Carr does, you know, well in terms of completion percentage, better in terms of his touchdown interception ratio, but the defense, with all the explosive offenses around it, and maybe a scenario where it's not able to effectively stop these air raid attacks, causes the Raiders to finish no better than 6-10. Okay? If that happens, I don't see that Carr would be, under that scenario, the whipping person. I think, first of all, it would be under that scenario, for that to come to pass, it would have to be the fault of Paul Guenther, from Gruden's perspective, and Guenther would have to go. Because if Gruden didn't pull the trigger on Guenther, then Mark Davis would want Gruden to do so, or at least leave it up to Mayock, and Mayock would make that call. Mike Mayock is an interesting position. So, You see what I'm getting at? Jon Gruden says that Al Davis fell in love with Jamarcus Russell when he saw him throw a 70-yard pass from his knees. Look at Tyree Jackson, man. J-Dub says it starts the offensive coordinator, too. Yes. Joseph Amadura says, I remember prior to them starting to build the stadium in Las Vegas, there were rumblings about steel imported from China. Do you think that maybe the delay amongst the things? No, I don't honestly know what it is because I'm not getting a straight answer. All I know is what I've showed you. You have a quarter. Now, no Raider guy is for this, but you have a quarter of the stadium that. And let me see if they made any progress on that as I talk to you today. You have a quarter of the stadium almost that does not have steel rebar. Whatever the problem is, all you have to do is look at the stadium and compare that with the McCarthy animation to figure out that, hey, they've got a problem. They are behind, all right? Just run the model. It's right there. It's all right there. You can't run that model with specific date points and then look at what's actually happening and not figure out that there's a problem. You just can't do it, all right? So I'm right now going to Raiders.com. I'm going to stop, by the way, at about 1:40. It's 1:23 right now. Or about an hour. Well, right now I'm at 51:42, okay? I may do a show tomorrow night. And I'm definitely going to do a live stream tomorrow. Monday night, a special guest, my longtime friend, going back to 1986, Leslie Silver is going to be on to talk about her documentary on homelessness in Sacramento, documentary on homelessness and mental illness called Sheltered Mercy. Now, if you're wondering, Leslie Silver, where I ever heard that name, well, she's married to Mike Silver of the NFL Network, who I've known since 1986. So I'm really excited to have her on talking about what I think is one of the predicaments of America right now, homelessness. It really is. So Gruden says he's excited by the class. I'm looking at right now the Mike Mayock also called out Arden Key, by the way. I think I mentioned that the other day. We've got, I'm waiting for the Vegas page to open up, so while I'm doing that, I'll get to your comments. This Raiders website is slow. Hold on. All right. Eric Young says, with all the problems going on with the Vegas stadium, does the lawsuit complicate things further? At this point, it doesn't immediately. I mean, it's an extra something to worry about. But right now, you haven't gone to trial. It will at some point in the future, but does it do it right now? The way things are structured, no, because there's, as I understand it, there's no request for a judge to issue an injunction, which I think should have been done years ago. You know what? Lock them. But no, didn't happen. Sean Watson asks, who do you think the Raiders will get at receiver? That's murky. I tend to believe that the Raiders are going to get a veteran. Maybe Antonio Bryant. All right? But I can't see the Raiders, at this point, I can't see the Raiders going after a rookie. The Raiders have two very pressing needs. Backup quarterback. Well, actually, technically three. Backup quarterback and running back. Because, look, Marshawn Lynch was the bell cow running back for the Raiders, but look what happened. It wound up putting him on injured reserve. You have Chris Warren, who also got, hurt, put him on reserve. The Raiders lack an explosive running back. They lack a back that they can plug in and play who's a rookie. And I say it just like that because Bryce Love offers the Raiders an excellent opportunity to be that kind of back, having learned football under David Shaw. One thing, if a running back played for David Shaw's Stanford Cardinal, you can bet that running back understands how to block NFL style. And that's a rare gift, okay? A rare gift. So I really believe that the Raiders' more pressing need is at receiver. And they can get, at running back. And they can get an effective receiver in the lower rounds or trade for one, okay? Or yeah. Now, the third need is at tight end. Now, you're going to mention Lee, but the Raiders need a Kelsey type. A Swiss Army knife type tight end who's younger and faster than Lee. Who could, either spell him or work in combination with him. JW says Carr also had 2 rookie tackles and a makeshift line the whole season. Yeah, but the whole point with that, and this is where I take issue with that whole thing about the rookie tackles and all that. Look, Gruden didn't design the right schemes to keep the pressure off those guys. Like a one-step passing repertoire, gadget passes, running back throws. I saw none of that this year. If I were Gruden and I were designing a game plan for the Raiders, I'd have at least 5 gadget passes in my game plan, and I use each and every one of them to keep the pressure off the offensive line in the conventional sense in terms of pass blocking. There are a lot of ways to take advantage of a defense that way. Keep them guessing. When you keep them guessing, guess what? They're not rushing you as hard. So that is a big fault of scheme. It really is. John says, so vote on lease agreement in Oakland possibly happens next week. Well, it happens in stages, but it's already, look, the JPA has already voted on one version of it. They'll vote on whatever. There's something going on that's complicating things. I can tell you that much. What it might be, I can only speculate. But I know this should have been wrapped up by now. For all practical purposes, it was. Something happened. And I gotta believe it had to do with Mark. That's generally the only reason in the history of this we have these delays. Mark reconsidered something, said something, heard something, whatever the case. Whatever the case, it has to do with Mark and some loose end that's being tied up. I don't get the sense that it's going to be a deal breaker, but I do get the sense that it's taking time to work itself out. And that's where we're at. So once that's worked out, we're supposed to have had this done by this week. By the time that's worked out, hopefully next week, then it goes to City Council, and then it goes to the league. All right. Cesar says, Sean Payton for Raiders head coach in 2020 when he becomes a free agent. I love the Saints offense and would love to have that offense when we move to Vegas. Sean Watson asks, do you think the city of Oakland is trying to mess what up? Sean Grogan, be clear in your question. That's a very open-ended one. Sean Grogan says, we are stuck with Gruden for at least another 5 years, good or bad. Yep. Eric Young says, Antonio Brown in Oakland. I want Antonio in Oakland, man. I think that would be freaking huge, okay? Antonio Brown in Oakland would be just amazing. I was about to say amazeballs, but then I was going to like, don't say it like that. No. Don't ever use that term, Zinni. No. No, one of you made a comment. What do you think about Jason Witten leaving Monday Night Football? Yay! He's gone. He's gone. He's gone. I just have to say, I'm so happy. Dude, he was giving me a headache on, oh my God. It's like, get out of it. What are you doing, man? It's like, what are you saying, man? Oh my God. Listening to him was like getting root canals. Oh, no. 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 Rodney Anderson from OU would be a perfect fit for Oakland. So you're saying that you are predicting a Kyler Murray, Rodney Anderson, Oakland backfield pairing? Ooh. 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 Joseph Emmender says, as the earlier today, Gruden said more important than edge rushers, inside linebacker. Your thoughts? Well, I think that if you can, there are a lot of really great edge rushers in this draft. Okay, you can come away with one in the lower first round, but you better get your edge rusher here. You better pick him up. If he believes, I tend to think that an inside linebacker, a great one, can be made by scheme more so than getting one. All right, and the Raiders have had a lot of great middle linebackers pass through 1220 Harbor Bay Parkway over the past 2 or 3 years alone. And they passed through and they left. And that's due to the fact that they weren't performing well in the type of scheme the Raiders set up for them. So you can have someone that's exceptionally talented, but if you're not playing the right defensive front or scheme, it's hard to mess up an edge rusher. An edge rusher, a defensive end, as I prefer to call them, a true defensive end, is obviously good from the word go. Okay, a defensive end is obviously good from the word go. It's hard to screw that up unless, of course, you're one of those people that says you have to go back and play zone and a zone blitz a lot. Oh, don't do that. Okay. Eric Young says that the Raiders need edge rushers. The Raiders need no, let's be blunt. The Raiders have edge rushers. What the Raiders need is a replacement for Khalil Mack. That's quite different. And the Raiders need to make it obvious that they screwed up, and they need to go on a worldwide search for their Khalil Mack replacement, because that is the problem. Okay? It's not, oh, we need an edge rusher. You can get one of those easily. They need to replace Khalil Mack. All right? That's it. That's it. You know? Forget this like passive-aggressive stuff. Well, I want an edge rusher. Dude, replace the Mack, all right? Just do it. Because you know that's like the impossible job one. Your job is to prove that it's possible. And the only way to prove that it's possible is to get somebody that you're confident enough to say, that's the man. That's the man. And Rob Ivan says, glad the Niners got Papa. Good for him. Lisette says, how about getting rid of Miss Brent Musburger now? Nah, I like Brent. Why do people always talk in terms of getting rid of somebody as opposed to bringing in somebody? Who do you want to see? Rob Ivan says, Bryce Harper signs with the Phillies. Yeah, I was going to talk about that. And I probably will tomorrow night, but that's all. $300 million over oh, man. Oh, that's a lot of money, dude. $22 million a year. 10-something years. Whoo, man. Is anyone really worth that kind of that kind of dough? Is he worth it? I'm asking you, is he worth that kind of money? A-Rod would still be worth more. If you took his deal and then brought it up to modern standards. All right. Is Bryce worth that? Sean says, no, I don't think so either. I mean, that's one of those situations. Just because you can pay somebody that kind of money doesn't mean you should. Just say no. Don't sign that. Don't sign it with that pen. Sean Gruden says, I think Peyton Manning should take over. Oh, interesting. Peyton Manning should take over Jason Witten's spot in the booth. Interesting. Sean says, I need to be the Raiders GM. Thank you. That'll be fun. Sean Grogan says, not for a guy averaging 279 and less than 100 RBIs. Ooh. So in other words, you have no problem with the deal, right? Well, let's just see what happens. Will he bring the Phillies a championship, or will he bring them enough merchandise revenue to offset what they're paying? Lisette says C. Wood. Woody. Ooh. Woohoo. All right, folks, it is 1:38, and we have been on for an hour plus. I will keep you posted about tomorrow, but between Friday night and Saturday night, I'm leaning toward doing another stream. We'll see. All right. Sean says he puts butts in seats, but no one is worth that kind of money. I agree. Good night, everybody. Good night. And remember, as John Marsh would say, watch horror films. Keep America strong. Good night. Oh, somebody says, Eric Young says, unfortunately, Neil King is not available. He's busy broadcasting Raider games in heaven. With Snake Stabler, the assassin, reminds me of something I've got to take care of. Jack Tatum, and Dr. Death, and Taz. Good night, everybody. Good night, Raider Nation. Good night, Raider Nation, NFL fans, everybody else. I'll see you.